Hello everyone! We're gonna do a sit-down vlog today and try nating sagutin yung mga questions na pinadala nyo sa akin, whether here in YouTube, in Facebook, in Messenger, or in Instagram. I may have responded to your questions already, but for the benefit of everyone, kinumpile ko sila and I'll answer them here via a sit-down vlog. So let's dig into the question. Question number 1. Magsalamin lang ako kasi hindi ko mabasa dito sa laptop ko. Ano po yung requirements for a Korean visa? Okay, I'll be honest with you, I'm not gonna answer that in this sit-down vlog. That deserves a separate vlog. Marami kasing requirements na dapat mabigyan ko ng input per requirement. That is to be able to give you something of value. So yung masasabi ko na lang is maybe a lesson learned from this experience na nag-apply ako via a travel agency. Of course, you get a travel agency na komportable kayo, may track record, or better, referral. I blindly went into Facebook. Hinanap ko yung mga sino yung nakapagpa-approve ng Korean visa during the pandemic at doon ako nag-apply. But you know what? Pagka-apply ko pa lang, nag-release yung Korean Embassy ng KVAC system. So, nagkataon lang na nandun na yung application ko. Kung naunahan lang ako ng KVAC system, I would have applied personally. Anyways, so going back to the travel agency. Nag-apply ako ng visa for myself and for my son's ate. Itong ginawa ng magaling na travel agency, pinaghiwala yung application namin pagdating sa embassy. You should not do that. Like, do not do that ever. Of course, the embassy will treat that application ng Yaya as if it's an independent application. Her Yaya wasn't able to establish strong economic ties. So, na-deny yung visa niya. And guys, hindi to first time ni Yaya pumunta sa Korea. Every time we go to Korea, she's with us. This is the first time na na-deny yung visa niya. So, my tip is if you're going to Korea, and mag-a-apply ka ng visa for a helper, for a yaya, for a nanny, or for someone in the family na walang source of income at ikaw ang mag-sponsor for them. Make sure that you apply personally na lang to the embassy. That way, if they have issues on the papers, you can address the issue directly. Kung may questions sila, kaya mo rin i-explain sa kanila. And talagang make sure that hindi mahiwala yung application kasi you don't want the embassy to treat the Yaya's application as if it's an independent one. So that's the only advice I can give in this vlog. I'll touch the Korean visa requirements in a separate one. Okay, let's go to question number 2. Question number 2. Kailan po magandang pumunta sa Korea? Punta na ako sa Korea ng spring, fall, at saka winter, but not summer. Spring and fall talaga ang favorite ko. Winter, hindi ko kinaya yung lamig. Sobra siyang malamig. Hindi ko na-enjoy kasi palagi ako naghahanap na lang ng place na may heater. So, I would rather stay indoors. Ang maganda sa Korea, yung nasa labas kayo, nakakalakad ka. Paa mo na lang yung sasakit kasi sobrang dami mo na palang na nagawang steps. Ang layo na pala na narating mo. But yung katawan mo, hindi bibigay. Kasi ang sarap very comfortable Ganda naman yung winter kasi may snow. Dulo na nung winter yung naabutan ko. And sobrang ginaw pa rin. Hindi ko talaga siya masyadong gusto. Yung summer naman, hindi ko na-experience. It was my sister and her family who went to Korea this year during summer. And sabi nila mainit daw. So, tingin ko, yun yung isa sa mga factors na pumipigil sa kanila na mag-ikot kasi mainit sobra. So yeah, best time to go to Korea in my opinion would be spring or fall. Okay, let's go to question number 3. Saan magandang magstay in Seoul? Okay, before ko gawin yan, pakita ko muna sa inyo ang map of Seoul. Okay? Ito yung map ng Seoul. Yung blue na nakikita nyo dyan sa gitna, that's Han River. Okay? So, yung mga districts na nakikita nyo sa taas, these are the districts sa north of Han River, and the districts that you see below are the districts south of the Han River. So, doon sa taas, makikita nyo, nandyan yung center of Seoul. Nandyan yung Jongno. Jongno, that's where you see the Gyeongbok Palace. Nandyan ang Insadong, Gwanghwamun Square, the start of Cheonggyecheon or the Cheonggyecheon Plaza. So, andyan yan. Junggu, that's where Myeongdong is, right? So, kita nyo naman, sa baba ng Junggu, you have Yongsan. And Yongsan, that's where you have Itaewon. That's where you have Namsan Tower, right? Mapo, if you see a little to the left, Mapo, andyan ang mga Hongdae. Andyan yung Ewa Women's University. Now, if you go a little naman to the right ng Junggu, andyan yung Songdong, andyan yung Songsudong, andyan yung Seoul Forest Park. If you just focus on that, ang dami-dami nyo na mapupuntahan. This is also helpful not only to choose the place where you want to stay, but to plot the activities na gusto mong gawin or saan ka pupunta. Kasi depende sa dami ng activities mo na nakaplot dyan, I would suggest doon ka sa malapit doon magstay. Based on this map, I would assume that for a first timer, andun lahat sa taas ng Han River yung mga pupuntahan na places. So, yan. Again, my suggestion is, it doesn't have to be Myeongdong or Hongdae. Choose a place kung saan marami kang activities para dun ka mas malapit. Okay? Hindi ka pagod sa lakad, hindi ka pagod sa travel. You can spend more time enjoying the activities. Kesa naliligaw ka, or akyat ka ng subway, or sakay ka ng bus palagi. So at least yan, na mapipreserve mo ng konti yung energy mo and you can use it for the activities. Ako, nung first time ko sa Korea, hindi ako sa Myeongdong or sa Hongdae nagstay. I stayed in a neighborhood called Palpandong. Ang Palpandong is at the back of Gyeongbok Palace. It's close to the Blue House. Andun siya sa area ng Samsungdong and Bukchon. And the reason why I wanted to stay there is because I want to stay in a guest house. Ayoko magstay sa hotel. And nag-research ako ng guest house at that time. Guys, nung pumupunta ako sa Korea, hindi pa uso yung Airbnb. So sa guest house ako nagstay. I really researched kung saan maganda ang guest house. At yun yung guest house na nakita ko. The name of the guest house is 126 Mansion. It's no longer there. But kaya ako nagustuhan kasi ang guest house is because gusto kong maka-feel na nakakausap ko yung hosts. Nakakausap ko mismo yung may-ari ng bahay. I can have a drink with them. I can eat with them. I can have a chat with them. And basically, like, get to know them more. So, nung nandun ako sa guest house, yung breakfast namin was cooked by the mom of the owner. Yung owner ng house, we would have wine in the evening. And then, because nga naging friends na kami, so the next time I came back, she invited me to have an authentic Korean barbecue, like hindi siya touristy place. Alam niyo ba yung mga Korean barbecue na nasa mga touristy places? Nakaupo kayo sa benches, di ba? Nakaupo kayo ng komportable. Etong Korean barbecue na pinuntahan namin, it's so local, sa sahig kami nakaupo. Sa sahig kami nag-grill. So anyway, that's my choice. Hindi ako nagstay in Myeongdong or Hongdae kasi yun ang gusto kong ma-achieve. So I wanted to think about what you really want to do in Seoul. Ano ba yung mga activities na gusto nyong gawin? And based on that, doon kayo maghanap ng place na titirhan. Whether it's Airbnb, it's a hotel, it's a guest house, it's a hostel. It's up to you depending on your budget. Later in my trips, mas nagstay na ako sa Myeongdong. Kasi medyo syempre, nag-mature din ako, nag-iba rin yung mga tastes ko, nag-iba yung interests ko. Now, I'm more into skincare, kaya nasa Myeongdong ako. So again, follow your interests, follow the activities that you have planned for your travel, and based on that, doon ka humanap ng area that will serve as your home base in Korea. Okay, let's go to question number 4. Ano po yung requirements to travel to Seoul? Okay. So, the usual lang naman yan. Yung passport, syempre, yung Korean visa mo, yung e-travel, departure card, online naman siya gagawin, payment ng travel tax sa TIEZA, and then, eto, Q-code. Q-code is no longer mandatory, but I suggest that you do it. So, pagdating nyo dun sa Incheon Airport, mauuna yung health declaration. So, if you don't have a Q-code, you need to fill out like a paper. Ikot naman yung mga flight attendants and then gonna give you, those documents. So, just fill it out inside the plane before you go down. Gusto nyo mapadali, mag-Q-code na lang kayo para lang naman yun yung e-travel din the health declaration online. Before mag-immigration, get an arrival card. Kailangan nyo rin siyang i-fill out. So, yan. So, Q-code and arrival card. Okay, now let's go to the next question. Ano po yung dadalahin na currency? Pesos, US dollars, or Korean won? Okay, at this day and age, it doesn't matter. Bring whatever currency you have, whether Philippine pesos or US dollars. May dala akong leftover currency from my previous travels. So I have Singapore dollars and Malaysian ringgit. Pinalitan ko rin sila sa Korean won. I think yung tanong is magkano ba yung kailangan kong palitan dun? It would depend on your budget. But initial palit, ako, by practice, I would exchange 3,000 to 5,000 pesos worth of Korean won doon sa airport mismo. And para may bitbit akong cash pag nag-transfer ako sa city, like whatever happens, may pangbayad ako. And then I exchange the rest sa Myeongdong. Kasi alam ko na kung saan doon magpapapalit ng mga pesos. But you can exchange everything na at the airport. Kung may difference naman, konting-konti lang naman yan. Next question naman is, how much po ang bus ride papuntang Myeongdong? Arex, bus, or taxi? Okay. So, I've tried all. So, if you're going to Myeongdong, ang masasabi ko na lang, if you're a solo traveler, the most cost-efficient option would be the bus. But if you're traveling in a group of 4 or more, take a taxi. Take a jumbo taxi. You can pre-book it sa Klook, or you can go out of exit 7 doon sa arrival sa Incheon and cross lang the street doon sa kabilang kalye. Makikita mo naman paglabas mo ng exit 7, may pedestrian lane lang. So you just cross that pedestrian lane. Makikita mo na yung mga jumbo taxis. Andun sila doon. Yung bus fare kasi ngayon from Incheon Airport to Myeongdong is 17,000 won per person. In the past, noong 2019, 15,000 won lang siya. But konti lang naman yung naging increase. So, pag kinumpute mo kasi yon times 4 persons, konti na lang idadagdag mo and naka-jumbo taxi ka na. At least yung jumbo taxi, wala masyadong stops. Actually, walang stop. Dire-diretso sa hotel. So, convenient para sa inyo. If you're a solo traveler, I guess pwede kang mag-bus kasi 17,000 won lang yun Yung Arex naman, I really would not recommend that unless gusto mong pahirapan ng sarili mo. Because magta-transfer ka from Incheon Airport, you have to stop at Seoul Station and transfer to Line 4. Think about Seoul Station as like a central station. So, maraming nakakonect dyan na lines. Malaki siya, malayo yung lakarin, and to transfer to Line 4, you have to go up and down the stairs. Sa Myeongdong Station din, may mga hagdan din dyan. Hindi siya automatic na may escalators agad or may ready elevators na makikita ka. So, imagine kung may luggage kang dala, sobrang hassle, diba? So, lalo nang hindi magandang option yan if you're traveling to Korea with a child or with senior citizens. Lalo na pagka meron kayong stroller. So, don't ever commit the mistake of taking the Arex to transfer to Myeongdong kapag may senior citizens ka o kasama or may mga bata. Advisable pa rin ang taxi or bus. Okay, the next question is, naka-SIM card po ba kayo or Wi-Fi egg for internet? Okay, ngayon sa travel namin, hindi na kami naka-Wi-Fi egg. Naka-eSIM kami. So, I booked eSIM QR code sa Klook na inactivate ko lang pagdating ko na sa Korea. In the past, naka-pocket wifi pa ako. Medyo hassle din kasi yung may pocket wifi kasi palagi kang merong iintindihan na bit-bit, tapos nakakabigat din naman kahit paano sa bag And then, isang pang iisipin mo yan na i-charge sa gabi. So, ang daming mga kyaw-kyaw. Tapos yung pagdating mo, excited ka na lumabas, but you have to stop by the booth to claim the packet. Tapos pag uwi ka na rin, dadaan ka pa rin dun sa booth. And kung saan mo kasi siya kiling, dun mo rin siya ibabalik. So imagine, pag pauwi ka na, nandun ka na sa departure, pero bababa ka pa sa arrivals just to surrender the pocket wifi. So maraming ganong logistical hassle siya. So kami naman, ang kinuha ko is the eSIM. Sobrang dali lang nun kasi you just activate the QR code pagdating mo sa Korea. But take note that before you can activate it, you need to have internet connection. So pagdating na sa Incheon Airport, hintayin nyo lang na makakonect kayo sa Wi-Fi ng airport before you activate it. And don't activate it while nandito pa kayo sa Pilipinas kasi umaandar na yung oras So, depende kasi yan sa plan na kukunin nyo. So, I got the 5-day eSIM plan. So, kaya doon ko na lang siya i-activate pagdating ko sa Korea. By the way, have to remind everyone, not all phones are eSIM capable. So, check muna whether pwedeng mag-eSIM dun sa phone nyo. Otherwise, I would suggest regular SIM kesa sa pocket Wi-Fi. Okay, next question is, ano daw yung mga useful apps na meron ako to help with navigation? That's a good question. Okay, let's go to useful apps. So for navigation in Korea, people would mostly use Naver instead of Google Maps. Mas accurate ang Naver Maps sa Korea kasi lahat ng kasulok-sulukan naka-capture niya. But if you don't have Naver Maps, it's okay. You don't need a Naver map to navigate in Korea. Google Maps will work just fine. The next one is for subway schedules and directions, get the subway app. For translations, get Papago. Ito, to be able to communicate with your drivers or with the hotel or whatever, pagka magbubook ka ng mga activities sa Klook and you need to inform maybe the operator, best to download KakaoTalk and, mag-register na kayo para may KakaoTalk profile or account kayo. And then for restaurant recommendations, I would suggest to get Mango Plate. Although yung Mango Plate, parang hindi naman siya palaging na-update or hindi na rin siya recent, but it still has a lot of great information about good restaurants sa Seoul. And kung wala ka namang Mango Plate, it's also fine. You can search na lang sa Google. Say for example, best samgyeopsal restaurant in Myeongdong. Then Google will give you recommendations. But I have a tip. Tag-testing kasi ako to type best samgyeopsal restaurant in Myeongdong in English versus kinonvert ko siya into Korean. Tapos nag-search ako na in Korean, iba yung lumabas na results. Mas lumabas ang hanampig doon sa Korean na search kesa sa English search. Therefore, my tip is, if you're going to Korea at kay Google ka magtatanong, what is the best cafe, what is the best brunch place, saan magandang mag-breakfast in Myeongdong, why don't you type the question in Papago first, convert it to Korean, and then i-copy nyo yung Korean before you search sa Google para makita nyo kung ano ba talaga yung medyo mas reliable na recommendation coming from locals, hindi siya from tourists or from foreign users of Google. Yung Edea coffee sticks po ba was good? Question ko po, ma'am, give me idea po how much mag-range ang one full meal. Solo trip po kasi by next week. Sorry, pag lumabas to, malamang nasa Korea ka na, but I'll answer your question. Yung Edea coffee sticks are good, but preference ko kasi is not too sweet. So, it was a little sweet for me. But okay naman siya. Para siya rin yung mga Maxim 3-in-1 coffee sticks ng Korea. How much mag-range ang one full meal? It really depends. So, if you are going to, say, 7-Eleven, pwede na siguro 5,000 to 7,000, you'll have a good breakfast. Pag Isaac Toast, siguro again, same range, 5,000 to 7,000. But if you're talking about lunch and dinner, then you might have to increase your budget. If you are in a touristy place like Myeongdong, 10,000 won't be definitely enough. You'll need more, like maybe 15,000 to 20,000 won per person. Yung street food alone sa Myeongdong, hindi siya mura. Mahal yung street food doon. For example, mag-street food ka, like the lobster tails or yung mga steak. How much na ba siya ngayon? 15,000 won? Compare that with quality meat sa Hanampig for 18,000 won. So, what do you choose? So, diba, it depends on you eh. So, again, just for range purposes, 5,000 to 7,000 for breakfast, 10 to 15,000 for lunch, and for dinner, maybe 15 to 20,000 per person. Pinag-iba ko yung lunch and dinner kasi ako, pag lunch, usually I go for local restaurants. So, medyo mas mura yan. And kung napansin nyo, nag-Myeongdong ako, pero hindi ako nag-street food sa Myeongdong. Namamahalan kasi ako eh. With that amount, masarap na food na and magandang restaurant na yung mapupuntahan ko. So, there. This one is a question on my Seoul Forest vlog. Nasagot ko na rin to. Anong exit number po papunta sa Seoul Forest? So again, sinabi ko dun sa vlog that there are two ways to go to Seoul Forest from Myeongdong. You can do via Seoul Forest Station. The other one is via Tuksom Station. So I'll talk about Seoul Forest Station because for me, yun yung pinakamadali. So pag nag-Seoul Forest Station ka, just go out of exit 3. Yun lang. Paglabas mo na exit 3, nasa level ka na ng Understand Avenue. Paglabas mo, nasa Understand Avenue ka na kaagad. So, susundan mo lang yung directions. Kasi, yung mga tao naman going one way lang eh. Usually, papunta lang talaga sila sa Seoul Forest. So, just follow that. Makikita mo naman na yung Understand Avenue is full of shops na made from shipping containers. So, susundan mo lang yon. Matatanaw mo na naman eh, yung mga puno sa dulo. So, you know, yun yung direction papunta sa Seoul Forest. Hindi ka maliligaw. So, exit 3, Seoul Forest Station. Saan po kayo nagstay and how much per night? Nagstay kami sa Myeongdong in Pacific Hotel. It is near exit 3 of Myeongdong Station or exit 4 of Myeongdong Station. Yung per night, check nyo na lang sa Klook. Sa Klook ako nag-book kasi may nakuha ako na discount code. So, doon ako nag-book instead of in Agoda. Pacific Hotel is not a 5-star hotel. It's just a 4-star hotel. But sobrang gusto ko yung location. Para siyang, harap lang niya kasi yung shopping streets. Pero andito siya sa likod, enough to give you like a quieter neighborhood. Hindi yung very active na ang dami-daming tourists. Dito medyo tahimik pa na side of Myeongdong. But, sobrang accessible. Sobrang walking distance lang. 50 meters na, tawid ka na, station ka na. Tawid ka lang sa ilalim, sa underground shopping mall ng Myeongdong. Paglipat mo sa kabila, ando ka na sa mismong shopping streets. Next question. Ito muna tayo. Hello, was it cold during your stay? Fam is traveling there next week. Next question, related dyan. Ate, maganda na ba ang kulay ng Korea sa November 2021? November 20 to 21, orange na or mag-snow na? Okay. It was not that cold when we were there. It was cold, the comfortable level. But hindi siya yung super cold na tipong hindi ka na makalabas. Ito yung sobrang swabe na level ng lamig. But I heard nung November 7, nagkaroon na daw ng snow sa Seoul. So, I guess, you really have to check the weather before kayo pumunta kasi baka sa time namin is manageable, masarap na cold, but now it's super cold. About the color naman ng leaves, so ito yung pinagtataka ko, maybe climate change din ito, no? In the past, usually nandun ako mid-October to like 3rd or 4th week of October, and talagang makulay na, wala ka na makikita na green. But this time, ano naman ako, early first week of November, pero may mga green pa. Parang umurong yung peak ng fall, closer to winter. Ngayon, probably, ang fall, like peak, would be mid-November na. Kasi nung napunta ako first week of November, hindi pa rin marami pa rin green na mga puno. Hindi pa lahat nag-change ng colors. Saan maganda pumunta for fall foliage? Okay, so if you are going out of Seoul, you have Nami Island and Garden of Morning Calm. Mas maganda doon talaga kasi ang lawak eh. So sa Seoul, ang next na doon na makikita mong ganon, I think is Seoul Forest Park. So if you don't want to go outside of Seoul and still see the beautiful fall foliage in Korea, my recommendations would be 1. Seoul Forest Park, Gamsan Baekbom Square, Doksugung Stone Wall, and Jongdong Observatory, Hyojaro and Samsungdong near Gyeongbok Palace, and Yonsei University. Yonsei University, ibang charm siya. Parang may pagka-gothic yung itsura niya. So yeah, maganda. So those are my recommendations if you wanna see the beauty of Korea during fall. Next question. Ano pong address nung kinainan nyo, ate? Ma'am, pwede po ba mag-isa sa Hanam Pig? Buti na lang Autumn Vlogs yung nakita ko. Okay, so this is the address of Hanam Pig. By the way, ang Hanam Pig in Gangnam, yung branch nila doon, was the filming location for Hospital Playlist. Pero hindi ako sa Hanam Pig Gangnam nagpunta. Sa Myeongdong branch ako nagpunta. And yes, pwede pong mag-isa kumain sa Hanam Pig. I know you asked that question because some restaurants in Korea would require at least 2 persons kasi yung serving is good for 2 persons. Sa Hanam Pig naman, they allow na kahit solo traveler ka, solo eater, pwede naman. Totoo po ba na magtataas na ng price ang mga subway? Yes. So last August, Seoul Metropolitan Government announced that they are gonna increase their subway rates. So it used to be 1,201. Now it's 1,501. Pati yung basic transportation cost for intercity buses nag-increase na rin to 3,001. And they said that they will have another increase next year in 2024. So just adjust your budget accordingly. How much po yung the Alba spray? Naka 1+1 siya. Oh my God, I wanna try that. Ano ang magandang bilihin sa Olive Young? Okay, the Alba spray. Sobrang narinig ko to na secret daw siya ng mga flight attendants, ng mga newscasters, pati ng mga artista, bakit parang very dewy yung skin? Parang ang kinis-kinis. So, spray ko. Actually, maganda siya kasi skincare siya. At the same time, it gives you some parang shimmer, kinang sa mukha na parang ang healthy. So, that one, I got on sale. Naka 1+1 siya. And I got it for 39,000 won. Ang original price niya ata ay 59 or 69,000 won. And then, ano naman ang magandang bilihin sa Olive Young? Pakita ko na lang yung list sa inyo ng mga narinig ko na magandang bilihin sa Olive Young. And these were based on the recommendations of some of the staff sa Olive Young and some people na nakikita kong bumibili doon. Kasi tinatanong ko sila, oh, you're getting that one, is that nice? And I was like, yeah, this is super nice. Okay. So, ito yung mga recommendation nila dyan. But, pagdating dun sa lip mask, tinanong ko mismo, kasi very sikat yung Toriden. I don't know that brand. I haven't heard of that brand, to be honest. But, sobra siyang in demand doon. Ng every section, number 1, for example, sa lip care, Toriden. Number 1 for this type of mask, it's Toriden. So, parang, ano ba yan Toriden is? Tinanong ko yung staff, is that the best? Sinabi niya sa akin, not the best, but the most popular. So which one is the best? And sabi niya, for me, and for most girls here in Korea, the best lip mask is still this, Laneige Sleeping Mask. And that's the reason why, balik loob ako sa Laneige. Kasi up to now, siya pa rin pala ang pinakamaganda for the lips. Anyways, again, this is the list of the skincare products that are popular in Korea. Will be followed by the list of must-buy cosmetics in Korea. I think yun lang yung mga questions na nakuha ko. Let me just give one last tip on opening hours. If you're doing a DIY tour in Korea, make sure that you check the operating hours of the places that you'll visit. Kasi some are closed in some days and minsan adjusted yung operating hours nila. So for example, they're closed on Monday and then they open on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but on limited time, like say 10 o'clock to 4 p.m. only. And then pag weekends lang sila full, like 9 to 10. So check the operating hours and the date and the day na pupunta kayo doon. Like I told you when we went there, hindi ko in-expect na holiday pala yung October 29 and most of the restaurants were closed. So check nyo na lang din before kayo pumunta. Or better yet, have a plan B para kung hindi man matuloy yung isang activity no, at least meron kayong alternative. Okay, so I think I've answered all the questions na nakuha ko. And if you have other questions, please drop them in the comments box below. I'll try my best to respond. If marami tayong makompile na questions, let's see, maybe we can do another Q&A or sit-down vlog like this one. My next trip will be in Bangkok, and it's not going to be entirely for leisure, but I'll try to get videos as much as possible and share them with you para naman may content tayo dito sa vlog. So, thank you guys for spending time with me. If you find this vlog helpful, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you're updated whenever I upload something in my channel. So again, thank you everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!